Hey Brian, how's it going, man?
Hey, it's going good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. You look like a little sweaty there. You just getting
Uh,
training?
Actually, I just got out of the shower. Yeah, I got done with the training session. Just got back and got a shower in. So
Oh, okay, nice, nice. Yeah. So are you still training at Gym O or
yes,
okay? No,
yep. So Jimmo, North Carolina.
okay, nice, nice. Yeah. So again, thanks for taking the time to come on the podcast and welcome, dude.
Of course, man. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, not a problem. Uh,
Sorry it took me so long to get back to you on my email. It's
oh,
just kind of scattered all the time.
I totally understand. I know fighters get busy with the training and other media obligations and the whole whack. I guess because we're on that subject. So, what other than having like upcoming fights, do you get other like stuff from the UFC? Do they ever bother you with like other obligations, or how does that all work out?
Not really. Honestly, it's only when you have like a fight or something like that where they have a fight offer to give you is when they actually reach out. Other than that, or if I'm cornering a friend who's fighting,
Hmm.
then they reach out with stuff. But for the most part, it's only when fight time.
Nice. Now, have you had the chance to be able to corner anybody in the last little while, or?
Yeah, I cornered Impa Sung and I. What was that? Not too long ago, a few weeks ago,
Oh, okay.
and in Abu Dhabi, Fight Island.
Hmm.
Um,
No.
and then I think that's about it. I was cornered.
Okay. And I mean, you haven't fought too. You just fought not too long ago. So the whole process with the with all the COVID testing, so how much of is that a pain in the ass for you? I mean, you getting shit shoved up your nose, you're cutting weight, like keep that experience.
Honestly, it's been not too bad. I guess they're keeping us safe. They're keeping everything as safe and everything. And I'm trying to be as safe as possible in training and having close practices
Hmm.
with my teammates and stuff, and make sure everybody's being safe outside of training as well, just so we make it to the fight and not get a positive result. But um, they give you a choice. Usually, it's like the nose or the mouth or whatever, the throat or whatever. So, to be honest, I think the mouth one is not as bad as the nose one, but it's not too bad. We go and test and then quarantine for a day or something, and then come back and have another test and quarantine, and then
Hmm.
I think it's just and then we get tested again the day of weigh-ins. So
Right. Now, when you're cutting weight, does that ever affect your time with cutting weight, or does that ever like make things like, I mean, because you're more the last couple of days that you're really cutting that water weight. So does that do anything to like halt that process, or are they pretty good about that? Or
they're usually pretty good about it. It's usually like first thing in the morning. So when you're cutting weight and everything, if you wake up the day of weigh-ins to finish your cut, it's usually pretty early because weigh-ins start at like 9 or whatever. So and I actually think, or we actually go to weigh-ins first and do all that, and then come back, and you have like an hour window or something like that uh, to go get the test done, and then you basically go into quarantine again until fight time. So
Mhm.
leading up to it, it's right when you get there, so it doesn't really bother anything. And then the next morning, usually, so you go get the temperature check every morning, and it's usually right away. So you just get up, kind of go down there and get it done, and then you have the rest of the day to do what you want, media obligations, everything like that. And then, like you said, the weight cut doesn't really affect it just because you know it's after weigh-ins and everything, so you already get to rehydrate and everything, and then they test you again. And you go into your quarantine. So
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of nice to kind of get the inside scoop because as fans, we only get to see what we get to see on like whatever they post online,
yeah,
TV. So it's nice to kind of be able to kind of see, oh, so that's what goes on. Um, yeah, and I think the way UFC has handled everything, I really didn't see it. I didn't really see it happening. I once the COVID really spread, I was like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if the UFC can get it done, but thank God you guys have a great great boss and got
yeah,
things done. And it's good to see like you're still able to have those fights. I mean, no crowd or anything, but I mean, either it's that or in a sport. So
Exactly. You know, it was. I was a little worried too at first, like when COVID happened, everything kind of went on hold, and then Dana White started talking about getting Fight Island and everything. And I didn't think fights were going to happen as fast as they did to come to Vegas again, but he was able to make it work and keep everybody safe and put a program together to keep everybody safe and kind of close everything down at that one hotel and then the Apex and everything. And then Fight Island was cool too, and they're super safe out there as well. I mean, yeah, hats off to him, man. He made a big move there, and it's only helped the sport. The fans, it's always cool having fans there and everything. Miss that, but it honestly doesn't affect my performance or anything. And I don't mind fighting without fans. I can fight in a back room if we needed to. We can do it. So it's cool. I'm just glad we get to fight and get to compete and get to make our money to pay our bills and support our families.
Yeah, it definitely. And it's good that he's did that, because I can't imagine being a fighter and I mean that being like your full-time job. I mean, you got so many things to pay for, and I couldn't imagine being out for so long and not having that payday. I mean, a lot of guys, a lot of male and female fighters, they got families to take care of, and it's good that he's been able to find a way to be able to still get these fighters paid. Now, kind of talking about Fight Island, now when you got to fight, obviously they kind of told you where you were going to be fighting, but I guess as a fan perspective, I think we were a little disappointed that the fact that I guess the idea that we were getting was they were going to actually put the octagon on the beach and they were going to fight on the beach, like that whole idea of Fight Island, and then find out it's in indoor place. I think we were all a little disappointed. It was a bit. I felt like I was a little bit catfished, and did you already know that ahead of time, or did you have the same idea?
No, actually, ahead of time, I thought, they're going to put they kept showing the cage on the beach and stuff, and I was like, man, that's awesome. Like, but how are they going to deal with weather? Like, are they going to put something over it, kind of thing? So I was like, man, hopefully, we fight on the beach. That'd be so awesome. And it wasn't until I saw the first event and stuff, and I realized, okay, well, they're not fighting on the beach. It's going to be in a closed arena and everything. So. Still cool. They have the ring or the cage on the beach, so you get to go down there and when you're spending time on the beach, you can do some training in the octagon and kind of get a feel and everything too. So I mean, it's still really cool. They got the big Fight Island UFC Fight Island sign out there, so it's really cool still. But yeah, it would be pretty awesome to get out there and fight, but it does get really dang hot there. So
yeah, and I think that's probably one big factor is just the heat. I remember when I think it was the fight that the card they had in Abu Dhabi. I think it was Khabib and Poirier, I think, and or I think that might have been the one. And they just all the fighters were saying it was so damn hot in the arena, it wasn't even an arena. And they said it was just unbelievably hot, and they just couldn't they had a hard time breathing and everything.
I remember hearing that too. It was there was no AC in there. It was basically a huge cover, outdoor cover thing, and they said it was just ridiculous.
Well, and once you throw X amount of people in the mix, I mean, it just gets hotter and hotter. I mean, I bitch and whine about training where I train, and we only have one little room, so I mean, I shouldn't really be playing that much, but but anyway, kind of moving on. So do you have any upcoming fight news, anything that you can tell the fans? Or
actually just got announced I'll be fighting Daniel Rodriguez
okay.
Picked up a fight, so I don't think he was scheduled either, as far as I know. They just, we just matched up and put us on the card, so it's gonna be a banger. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. I try to look for anything, and I haven't seen anything. So maybe they just haven't made it publicly announced. Actually, I was supposed to get him on the podcast as well, and I guess things didn't work out. Like I said, when you were saying you didn't get back to me as soon. I said, yeah, I get it. I mean, fighters are busy, so that's probably what it was. So that's going to be a great fight. I think he's a bit of a newcomer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he's a little newer. I think he has 3 or 4 fights in the UFC.
Yeah, I can't hear you, man. Yeah, I think you're breaking it a little bit.
If it's the beard or what? Is it better like that?
There we go. Yeah, it's a little bit better now.
Just get rid of the headset.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, or it could have been the beard. I don't know. But yeah. So sorry, you were saying I think he's had 3 or 4 fights or something like that.
Yeah, I think he's had 3 or 4 fights. He's undefeated in the UFC right now.
Yeah.
Before that, I think he's on like a 9-fight win streak from what I've seen, read online or something like that. So he's up and coming prospect. Likes to throw, likes to bang in there. Comes to fight. That's what I'm excited about. Is he comes to fight. I've been calling out. I've been asked to fight Mike Perry for the longest time. Keep asking to fight him. He got set with Robbie Lawler. Was like, okay, well, man, I'd love to be on call for short notice for that. My fight gets announced. Now Mike Perry's, looking. Robbie Lawler fell out. Mike Perry's looking for a fight. So, whatever. But this is a great fight. Dan Rodriguez, he brings it. That's what I love. I love fighters who are going to bring it, and we can throw down in there and meet in the middle and go. So he's going to do that. I'm excited about this fight.
Yeah, and first thing, yeah, I would have loved to see you fight Robbie Lawler. That would have been a great scrap. I mean, I think him and Lawler would be a good fight. I just don't know how much Lawler is going to bring it to him. I mean, just in his last couple of fights, I haven't been impressed. But I mean, to see you fight him, if you were putting on the same fight against a guy like not Robbie Lawler, but Mike Perry, the way you fought Vicente Luque, oh my God, that would be a great fight. Like banging the whole fight, like, oh man, that would be a great fight. But I mean, you're still getting Rodriguez, so that'll be a good scrapper. So what about is that fight happening? Have they told
the Rodriguez fight?
Yeah.
November 14th.
Okay.
In Vegas. Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of explained, the kind of fight that you want to have in there. What are, like, I would never ask a fighter to, I guess, spoil what their plans are. Obviously, you're coming to win. You're not coming to lose. But so what are some of the things that you and your team are working on for this training camp?
The camp's real short. So, it's 2 weeks, 2 hard weeks, and then I'm going to fight week. So we're just working on some last minute preparations to sharpen up, make sure we're sharp and seeing everything. And, just a lot of movement and high pace. And that's about it. We're going to get in there. I know how to fight short period of time. I've been staying pretty much ready to pick up a short notice. And so I'm just going to go in there and let them fly.
Right on, man. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that fight. As much as I think everyone likes to see the knockouts, I think it's great to just see one big scrap. Even if you can't tell who's winning, I just love seeing guys just go at it. I think kind of reflecting on last week's card, I think the whole card was just amazing. A lot of great scraps. I mean, I think it was those 2 guys, I think they might have been bantamweights, Casey Kenny and Nathaniel Wood.
Yeah.
That was a freaking banger. I mean, I've never, I understand the smaller guys have more of the tank, but I mean, just to watch those guys just let those hands fly. It was great to see that. I think there was another good fight on there. It was those 2 girls. Actually, I'm having the one on the podcast on Friday. But there was that one flyweight fight, and that was a great scrapper too. Unfortunately, he got stopped in the second. I guess I have to ask you now that some of the fights you've been in have been scraps. What's your thoughts on the doctor stopping fights in between rounds? Like, say if a fighter says I'm able to fight, but they deem it not to be. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I remember. That was that this last weekend that they said that? Like, the girl said, I'm okay, I'll fight, and they stopped it.
Ujwa, I think her name is. I can't say it. She's Russian, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're ultimately there for your safety. It sucks because, as the fighter, you want to keep going. You want to keep fighting. I don't know how bad that cut was. wasn't right up on it. So, the doctor came in, checked back, look at her cut or whatever. I think it was split across her nose or something pretty good. I don't know. I didn't feel like the blood was pouring into her eyes, but I guess it wasn't a bad stoppage. It looked like a pretty bad cut. But for me, it's like I would have been bummed and pretty hurt if they stopped the fight and if that was my fight.
Yeah, and I guess that's I think the biggest bummer is that you got these fighters who are totally in the fight. I mean, they might get cut up and stuff, but they're still in the fight. I mean, it can be competitive, and then all it takes is the doctor say no, you're done, and that's a loss. I mean, I guess it's more of if it was me, I wouldn't take it as a loss, but it still goes on your record and it still affects your record. So it does suck for sure. So I guess the idea is, yeah, I mean, they have a job to do. But I mean, if you look at other fights in the past, you get Lawler and McDonald, and those two guys went 5 rounds and they were just, face was totally disfigured. I mean, Lawler's lip was busted open and they still let the fight go. So I guess maybe they need to lay back on it a little bit. I mean, I guess there should be some kind of extent to say the fighter is aware if they want to continue to fight and they're not having any serious damage, they should be able to continue to fight. I understand when the fans boo and they freak out and they get upset, but I guess the doctors got their job to do.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is it could be a different doctor working that night, so they take it a little bit different, have a different procedure or protocol to how they go about it. But yeah, man, it's tough because when they get stopped, that's money getting taken out of your pocket. That's an L on your record, and usually the fight's still competitive. So, but like you said, yeah, they're there to do a job to keep you safe, and if they think that's the safest thing, then it's just a bummer sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I just picked up what you said. So when you talk about when you lose money. So okay, so in your contract, every fight you have, you make so much, but do you win? Do you get more if you win? How does that work out?
Yeah, usually, I mean, I can't speak for everybody's contract. Some people's contracts are different, but usually it's like, a fight pay. And then if you win, you get more money. You know what I mean? So it's a win. You get a win bonus, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But if you lose, you just got your regular fight money. So
right.
I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there who have flat rates or whatever. They make so much a fight and that's it. But definitely from when I've started and everything, it's been, you make this much to fight, and then if you win, you get more. If you lose, you just got what you got. So
right. I mean, talking about the bonuses as well. I mean, you got the fight of the night bonus, getting that 50 G's. So how long did it take for you to get that?
Well, they wait for like your testing to come back, your USADA tests and stuff like that, because I think if you test positive USADA and everything, then you don't get your bonus. And yeah. So, but it's usually fairly quick. It's not very long. They just wait for all the protocols to come through and everything and all the testing and make sure everything comes back clear, and then you get your bonus released to you or whatever. But it's a not a crazy amount of time to wait or anything. So it actually comes fairly quick. It's quite nice. And a bonus in general is always nice. An extra 50K in the bank for a fight of the night or performance of the night definitely helps.
Yeah, definitely. Now just kind of moving forward here. So now that I know that you had this fight, because I haven't even that's been happening. So after this fight, depending on how you come out of this fight, whether you're fresh and healthy, you're not cut up too much. Do you have any plans to fight after, whether it be a short notice fight or are you just gonna take time off with Deanna and the kids? What's your plan?
Yeah, I'd like to stay active. We'll see what happens with this fight. I expect it to be a banger, and we'll see. See how it goes. But if I can come out without any big bumps and bruises, cuts, or anything like that, then yeah, let's knock another one off before the year ends. Let's get one in December, and then then I'll take a little break. Hopefully before Christmas.
Yeah.
Right before Christmas would be good. Put another check on the table for the wife and kids, and then be able to enjoy Christmas even more with the family. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that typically in December they like to throw a lot of big cards in at that time of the year. Um, so I guess I guess like yeah, I mean I if it was for me, I would want to get on that card. Get your payday. Get your payday for Christmas, and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, yeah, um,
And people are falling out all the time. So, it's, for COVID injuries, so, just after this fight, once we get through this fight, we'll make a plan and see, what it looks like. And if it looks good, then we'll continue to stay ready and continue to be ready to jump on some fights.
absolutely. Now the only thing that would probably suck is if because you leave like because wherever whether they're gonna have the fights in Las Vegas or Abu Dhabi, you have to like get there so early, right? For like the testing and whatnot, or how does that work?
For Abu Dhabi, they have like a pre-testing thing, but
Yeah.
I don't know when they're going to go back to Abu Dhabi. I know they're done for a while, so they'll be in Vegas. In Vegas, you just go normal fight week time. So
Yeah.
get there Tuesday and get tested right away and all that. So it's not like the same as going to Abu Dhabi. When you go to Abu Dhabi, you have to go 2 days before you even get on the plane to go to Abu Dhabi. You go to Vegas, do a 2 day quarantine there, testing both days. And if your tests come back good, then you get on the plane, go to Abu Dhabi,
Hmm.
and then test when you get there and quarantine there too for 48 hours. So
Okay.
yeah.
Nice. And now, obviously, you just fought back in September. So, did you have to wait so long to go back home, or were you able to leave immediately? How did that all
No,
work?
I was actually able to leave immediately. Head home right away, right after the fight. It's actually a pretty quick turnaround. Right after the fight, I always try to head home, anyways, right after. After my last fight, I just wanted to get home too, so I asked if I could leave that night. Switch my flight and leave that night, but they have protocols too, so they don't allow you to leave right away. They
Hmm.
have to wait till the next morning. So I left early the next morning, got home to the family reasonably early, so it was nice.
Nice. Yeah. And yeah, because I know that like some fighters will, sometimes I've seen some fighters in the past couple of weeks will stay for a couple of
Yeah.
days in Abu Dhabi just to kind of enjoy the weather and not so much get in a rush to get home. Um, but yeah, I mean that's good that they're able to do that for you. Now you would have to, but when you get home, you would have to self quarantine for the 14 days, if that's correct.
Yeah, I mean, they tell you not to like go out and stuff just to be
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't matter. I don't want to go anywhere anyway. When I get home, I just want to be home with my family. So
Right.
that's
Right. Well, then it
important.
works out for you then.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now just kind of let's talk about your past fights. So, I mean, you've had some really damn good fights. You've had a lot of tough fights with tough guys. I mean, you got like a guy. I mean, was a former title challenger, Colby Covington. You fought Vicente Luque, Randy Brown. I mean, some of them you've lost, some of them you've won. Either way, do you still feel like a winner coming out of all those tough fights?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, I test my metal against some of the best in the division, come close to some of them and, had good fights. And I think anybody who gets in there with me, knows they're going to be in for one hell of a fight. And, I'm always going to win. I'm always putting in on exciting fights and putting on a good show for everybody. So it's what I enjoy to do. I love to do it. And those are the kind of fights I like. And I want people who are going to come and fight with me.
Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, I mean, you got a chance to fight Colby Covington. You gotta explain to me how good is this guy really? I mean, like how good is his pressure, his wrestling, and everything? Like, you gotta explain this to me because from first,
Well, when we fought, I wish he would have stood up more with me. He shot a lot of takedowns and
yeah,
he got me down. But to be honest, you know, when he gets people down, he usually holds them down. He wasn't able to hold me down. One thing I took from the fight is I
mm-hmm.
don't ever think people are going to be able to hold me down. So I was able to pop up, quick and get up from takedowns and stuff. And he's good for sure. Like he puts a good pressure. He has a good thing. But he was a different person when I fought him, as far as like personality wise.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, he wasn't all he is now. When we fought, like even after we faced off or whatever, and I went to shake his hand, and at the time, like I know he didn't like when I put my arm out, it was kind of late to begin with, and he didn't see it, and I was like, oh okay, he didn't see it, but the crowd kind of went like, oh, like he dissed me or something. But when we got to the back, like he came up to me and was like, "Hey man, sorry, I didn't see the handshake." I was like, "Oh, I know, it's no big deal, man."
Mm.
And he's like, "Oh, cool." And like we shook hands, and he's like, "Let's get it tomorrow." And that was it. Like, no, trash talk really or anything like that. So
Mm.
I don't know, but he is who he is now, and he's making money. Good for him, and he's getting title shots, and he's a skilled fighter too. So good for him.
Yeah, and I think that's.
I don't agree with his personality and how he's changed or the things he says. So.
Oh my God. I mean, but I think, and first off, and I think that's truly who he is. Like, how you were saying before, I think he's a respectful guy. I'm sure backstage, even with him and Usman, you got to think that him and Usman backstage, they were without the cameras. I'm sure he had to been like, he must say, "Hey man, just putting on the show." I don't know though. I mean, I don't know to what.
I don't know about that.
I mean,
I don't know about that.
Like I don't know if there's a lot of bad blood. But I mean, yeah. I don't know. I guess you have to have. I think everyone has different opinions about him. I definitely have mixed feelings. I mean, I didn't like him with when he was doing everything at the beginning, but I respect what he's doing. It's just the idea that he's kind of playing that, I guess, that Nick and Nate Diaz card. It's you say all these things to get people to hate you, but they're going to tune in your fights, and that's how. And I think that's one of the smartest things he's done, and he's got the skills to back it up. So I guess
I think he's just gone too far with some of the things he says and everything. So you can't get that back, honestly.
Well, I think in his last fight, who did he? I'm trying to remember. I think it was him and Woodley. Yeah, they finally got to fight, and yeah, I mean him about talking about like tribal stuff and smoke signals and all that stuff in Africa. Like that was just, I was like, dude, I mean, I guess I get it. I know that you're just trying to piss people off. I understand, but like, man, there's a line that you cross, and I think that the UFC needs to step in at those times and say, hey, like, I get it what you're doing, but you can't, it's not right. Like, I wouldn't say necessarily racist, but it's just, it shouldn't be tolerated. I mean, you look at fighters and people are like, kids are looking up to these fighters as role models. And you do the trash talking, you do all this stuff on video. It's all for good fun. Both guys know it, or both girls know it. But when you start saying things like that, I mean, kids look up to you and they want to look up to someone that they can relate to, someone that you can say, hey, you can be a fighter one day. And I guess he's done some good things for the sport, but in terms of his personality, I think he needs to just step it down a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree for sure. And the thing is like kids are going to see that and think that's okay, and it's okay to behave like that when it's not.
No, and it's not tolerated. But kind of going back to what I was saying, with all these fights that you've had, so with your upcoming fight with Rodriguez, him being undefeated, there's very few people that come out of the sport undefeated.
I don't think he's completely undefeated. He has a loss or two, but
okay.
In the UFC right now, I think he's on a 4-fight win streak, and then he has the win streak that's been going before he got into the UFC too, I think.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, so maybe he's not fully undefeated, but he's definitely on a win streak. You definitely have way more experience, obviously, and you have those tough fights. So having those tough fights, do you think that's going to play a factor in that fight, and you're going to be able to showcase that?
I mean, I look to showcase my skills, bring the best of me to the table and test him against him. I don't think he's no slouch. He's really good and he's really tough. And like I said, he brings it every time. So we're going to test it. We're going to test him, and we're going to definitely take it to him. And, I plan to be the best me when I step in there and, be a problem for him.
Absolutely. And let's talk about your fight with Vicente Luque. I know I bring this up so many times, but it's my favorite fight that you were in. Probably one of my favorite fights of all time. Talking about that fight, what was your emotions going through that first or second round? I mean, you guys are just banging it out. Like, what was going through your head at that time?
Like, hell yeah, I'm having a great time. I feel like I'm landing some good shots, getting the better of the stand up at the time. But he's landing some good shots too. He definitely hit hard for sure. He's a power puncher. He's got some good hands on him. He's sharp, but I was having fun out there, man. I was, really playing with a lot of my arsenal and doing a lot of different things and trying some things, and definitely having fun with it. It was great to fight him and test myself against him. And man, he's super skilled. And not only that, he's a great person too. I talked to him prior to that, after that, during fight week and stuff like that too, a little bit. And every now and then we talk on social media a little bit. And man, he's a class act, man. He's a good guy and a great fighter. And man, it was awesome to share the octagon with him and have such a great war. And I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I think I wasn't totally sure. I actually, before I was like, I think this guy actually from my hometown, you actually got to fight him, Chad the Priest, and he got to fight him as well. And I remember at the time, I'm like, oh man, destroy that guy. Now it's like I'm kind of going for him. So he's a guy that I tend to like to watch as well. So yeah, he's definitely doing good as well. Now, so like I know that you mentioned that you wanted to fight Mike Perry. Do you think that's kind of your gateway to the top 15 or the top 10? Do you think that's going to help you get back into that title or the like all the top 15, top 10 contenders? Or
I don't know. Mike Perry, he seems to keep his name. I mean, obviously, people pay attention to Mike Perry and stuff, and he's wild and crazy, and he does put on good fights and throws down and brings it, and that's what I like about him. But he seems to always be somewhere right there. Like, I think for a little bit there, he went on like a 3-fight skid and then won one, and he was back, and he got a good fight against a higher level guy right there on the edge of the rankings, and I'm just like, man, like, really? Is it because he's talked so much? I don't know. I mean, he puts on exciting fights too, yes, but it's not, I just want to fight Mike Perry. Like, it's a good fight. Like, I think for me, it's an exciting fight. Those are the kind of fights I look for. But there's other people out there, and there's other ways to get to the rankings, and I just got to win fights. I got to beat Daniel Rodriguez. That's the most important thing. That's what's in front of me right now. I got to beat him. Maybe I beat him, or when I beat him, do I get, maybe I'm right there at the rankings and I have one more fight. Let it be Mike Perry, my Nico Price, whoever. That's another guy. Nico Price goes in there, throws down. Wouldn't mind having that fight either. So, yeah. So right now, it's just more of a preference, not a gateway to get to the rankings for me. It's just those are fights that excite me, and would like to match up with those guys at some point. But I think, right now I beat Daniel Rodriguez. That's what I got to do. And that'll put me that much closer to the rankings.
Yeah. So is welterweight is that where you want to be, or have you ever thought of going back down to lightweight or even moving up more? How do you feel at welterweight?
Actually, I'll never probably go back down to lightweight.
But I had to ask.
Yeah, but I've been talking about moving to 185, and there was me and my coaches were talking recently about making the move before this fight even happened, and really start putting the program together to start building to 85. And then this fight came, and it was like, I'm still, like I said, I've been staying active. My weight's under control. I wouldn't say it's low, but it's under control, and so, the opportunity came. This is a good fight. I like the matchup. He's a banger. He brings it. He comes to fight. Love it. So, of course, I had to jump on it. And so this one will be at 170. My next one, we'll see if it's going to be at 170, going to be at 185. We'll talk after this fight happens. But it is something we've considered about me moving back up. I fought at 85 for a long time.
Yeah.
When I originally started fighting, I fought at 205 and then went to 85 and then kind of just kept going down and down. But I think I can compete at 85. I think I can go in there and win and beat some of those top guys as well. So we'll just see what happens and where it takes me. We got this fight in front of me at 170, so we'll keep trucking along and getting it done.
Right. And when it comes to going up in weight, I know that some fighters talk about having that problem when they go up weight. They have a hard time keeping that weight on from cutting weight to a certain weight class for so long. I know that you have that experience of fighting at 185. Do you think that's going to be an issue for you, or do you think you should be able to keep that weight on and be able to fight at 185?
Man, I have problems keeping weight off. Like gaining the weight is not the problem for me. Like I can put on weight in a flash. It's like I look at anything that I want, some food, especially junk food. Look at a bag of chips and boom, I'm up 15 pounds. It's like, man, I can't. The hardest part is keeping it off. That's my diet is strict and I have to be super consistent with it to
Yeah.
even cut to 170. 155 was absolutely ridiculous. Like I'd start 3 months in advance and tell the UFC like, hey, I'm ready to fight 3 months later. So I've already been dieting for 6 months total by the time I get to the fight. And, it's fair like I'm eating like an egg and a couple strings of grass or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
thankfully back then you could IV and it was like you would refuel right away. So I'd get like my life back. But, once they got rid of IVs too, it was like, well, I'm going to move up to 170 because one, I didn't want to move, I didn't want to have to cut the weight anymore. And two, it was just like, man, I don't know how I would even be able to function without being able to rehydrate that fast from an IV or something. So moved up to 170. And then, yeah, man, I don't think it'll be an issue keeping the weight on. Actually, it might be, we'll see. I'm not done with 170. That's not out of my head at all. So definitely don't want anybody thinking that. I'm not done with 170, but definitely might be making a run at 185 as well.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. Because I know that Mike Perry is talking about going to 185, so I don't know if you're trying to, chase him up that.
Oh, I'm not chasing Mike Perry. I'm telling you right now, I'm not chasing Mike Perry. He can come chase me if he wants, but I'm not chasing him. If the stars line and we match up, he can get it, but I'm not chasing him.
I'm just kidding with you, but yeah. So just a couple more for you. You got some upcoming UFC cards. You get that. I think the next pay per view. I'm pretty sure it's Figueiredo and Perez. It's supposed to be Figueiredo and Garbrandt, which I was more excited for. But you got that fight. I don't know if you pay attention to the flyweights or any other weight classes, but how do you see that? What's your prediction for that fight?
Man, I actually pay attention to quite a few weight classes. I get pretty much all the UFC in general, just because that's pretty much the main thing we watch in my house. But yeah, I think Figueroa is gonna get it. Like he's a vicious guy. Like he just goes in there for carnage and just tries to take your head off the whole time. Every shot he's throwing is heavy, and he has the conditioning and gas tank to go and move very well. So Perez though, I think he's tough. He's tough, and he's going to give him, I think, a little bit of trouble. But I don't know. I think I think Figueroa is going to get it.
Yeah, and I find with Figgy though, like I find like he has that star power, but he doesn't get enough recognition for it, and that's the way I read it. Like he's so under the radar, I find, and people just tune in more because I understand the flyweight division's got so much bad rep for for what it's been. But I mean, you look at Figueiredo fight, and the guy, I think he's awesome. I think he could be that champ to really stay there for a bit. And
I think he's helping bring back the division just because he's like a finisher, super exciting.
Yeah.
Comes in hard, throws hard shots, and he really makes, not just that fast division that gives you a little bit of everything. He gives you, the finishing rate kind of thing, that people are itching for in the heavier weight classes, I guess.
Absolutely. And then there's I think that's a co-main Valentina and Jennifer Maia. What's your thoughts with that fight?
To be honest, I don't follow Maia that much. I don't even remember who her last fight is or what her thing is, but I think Shevchenko's probably gonna smash her. And if I go off what my good friend Lauren Murphy says, she's that girl Maia's not doesn't really deserve a title shot. I don't like I said, I don't know, but I think Lauren Murphy deserves a title shot. So
Uh,
Lauren Murphy could get that title shot next. That'd be great.
yeah, and the thing is too. I mean, yeah, and as much as she beat like I because originally it was going to be uh it was originally going to be that girl. Jesus, I can't think of her name.
For Lauren?
Uh, for the one from Scotland, Calderwood, Joanne Calderwood. I know she was originally going to get the shot, and then she mistakenly took that last minute fight, which I believe she shouldn't have done because then she lost. She lost her title shot, and now Jennifer Maya's got it. I just feel like Jennifer Maya should have gotten another fight to win, and then maybe get that title shot. But I think Lauren Murphy, if she does not get that next title shot, there's something wrong with the rankings.
I mean, she's on a 4-fight win streak. You know, she just took, she had the fight with Kavia, whatever her name is, Cynthia, and that fell out. You know, Cynthia got sick or whatever, but she still took the fight against this short notice opponent.
Yeah.
You know, and went out there and won and finished her. So, I mean, man, come on, gotta give it to her.
Yeah, and so hopefully she'll get that next shot. And I hate when people criticize age. Like people opponents say, "Oh, she's 37, she's on her way," and it's like, well, last I fucking checked, Randy Couture won the belt at 42, and Daniel Cormier at 40 years old. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, hopefully she definitely does for sure, Brian. But yeah, Brian, I just wanted to thank you for taking your time to come on the podcast, man. It's been nothing but a pleasure having you on. Good luck with your fight in the next, I think, 2 weeks. Next 2 weeks, and we'll see you get that win, and we'll see you in the next one after that, man.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, man. I really thank you for having me on. It was great talking with you. And stay tuned, man. I look forward to throwing down in there. So make sure you tune in.
Oh, I will, man. Take care, Brian.